Take a look right through my eyes.
Hey FTMKickstart, it's Nick, and this is my video over trans or transgender related vocabulary. So let me start by apologizing for the quality of this video. I was going to use my phone, but I don't really have the time to edit it off my phone, so I'm doing it on my computer, and the quality of the camera is like way worse. Anyways, with that being said, let me jump into it. I feel like for me, it's really easy to explain my masculinity and femininity level by simply giving you a visual representation of like a continuum. If you have 100% masculine here, it goes to 0, which is like neither, and then it goes to 100% feminine. And some people fall at the 100% on either end. Some people fall like in the 90s and like 10% feminine. Some people fall right on the 0 where they don't identify with either. I feel like I'm like a 76-24, 76% masculine and 24% feminine. I definitely do have feminine qualities. I'm not ashamed of those. I don't like try to hide them or be more masculine or do things that I don't like to do, because this entire process of me transitioning was to find myself. So I would never take the male gender roles and try to fit those, just like I wasn't going to try to fit the female one. Everybody told me I was supposed to be a girl, I was supposed to do this or that, whatever. From the time I was born, I was wrapped in a pink blanket. And I grew up with all of those things. And if I'm going to transition from female to male, why would I start adhering to the male gender norms? That's not it at all. I'm going to be who I am. And if that is 76% male or masculine, then that's what I am. And so it opens up, all these, how do you identify? What do you call yourself? A male, a trans male. I never really get too picky with what I call myself. Masculine, identify masculine. Sometimes I'll say that. To people who don't know I'm trans, I'll just be like, I identify in a masculine form. Or, I would never feel comfortable with she or female pronouns. It's just not very, it doesn't make me feel very good. So I guess that means I'm uncomfortable with it. But there are a few like trigger words for me that I would never find acceptable, because it's been used derogatory like so many times, like tranny, of course. Whenever you hear that word, you just hear all the times you've heard it in a negative way, like an accusatory way, or in a way that's putting you down. So I would never hear that word and think, oh, that's a good word. Just like because I'm in Texas, the word queer was never used in a very good way around me. So whenever I first heard somebody that identified as queer, I was like, what? Like, why would you call yourself that? But then it was eye-opening to see that, oh, that's how they identify. Okay, so like that word was kind of like rewired in my brain as a positive thing. But it was definitely something that just because I was raised in the South, it raised my eyebrow when I first heard it. And I think the last thing is the word it. That word, I will never allow anybody to call me an it. And people do it jokingly, like he, she, it, whatever, like no, that's not okay, because it's demoralizing. It is taking you from the status of a human and like putting you as something less than. And just because I decide to not conform with a gender norm does not mean I'm less human, ever. Because I'm transgender, that does not make me less human. And so it kind of blows my mind whenever people assume that not conforming with this or that, for some reason it makes you less than. It's very mind-boggling to me. I don't understand it. So some other words, stealth. That word for me is a hard word, because the entire reason that we transition, or majority of, I'm not going to group everybody together. the reason why I transition is to pass as male. So that means everybody who sees me on the street that I don't have a conversation with pretty much assumes that I'm male. Therefore, I'm stealth. Unless I'm wearing a shirt that says trans male on it. Or I used to have a feminine body or something like that. So really, we all live stealth in society with people we don't know. So I guess I'm just a little confused, like, what the word stealth is supposed to represent in our community. Does it represent you never tell anybody ever? Or, like, just your spouse? Or, like, I guess for me, I'm new to transitioning. Like, right now I'm, like, 4 days on T. So I haven't really been on that long, and I haven't had to face these things. But I think that for me, if somebody has a reason to know, I'll tell them, and if they don't, then why have that awkward conversation? Like, I'm not going to be ashamed of it if somebody, like, says, oh, hey, I saw a picture of you and you were, like, a girl. I'll be like, yeah, I used to, transition from female to male, and then, like, go on about my day, because it's not that big of a deal. But for, like, everyday people, like, I don't see the reason to disclose that information unless I have to. I don't understand, like, I'm not going to go scream it to the world, but I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not going to hide from it, especially because it is so hard for trans people to get their rights, because we are something that is, like, behind this curtain, like, there's a brief period of time, like, maybe, like, 1 year where we can be questionable, like, either genders, or we might have to disclose our trans status, like, a lot of times. And those people that, like, see us in that transitional stage, or our families, know about trans people, and, like, what kind of rights we have problems with. But then, for the rest of our life, we appear male. Maybe our pharmacist realizes that we get testosterone, maybe that raises a red flag for them. Our doctors know. But really, we're not just the most obvious people. In fact, at Pride or in the gayborhood, we probably look like a gay male more than we would appear to be a trans male. So this creates such a huge dilemma for us, because, like, how do we get our needs known? Like, it's not something that a lot of people want to go blaring to the world. I'm getting on a tangent. Sorry. But all I'm saying is that I'm not going to hide ever, for the simple fact, not that not disclosing is hiding. I don't want to paint that picture. I'm not going to not tell people my trans identity if they need to know, or if they want to know, or if I feel like I want to tell them. Like, it's not like this, like, strict rule in my head. It's really on a person by person basis. I'm like, oh yeah, I can relate. I used to for the simple fact that I do want to help get rights for the trans community. I do want to put my story out there. But I don't do that on a large scale. For me, it's like a one-on-one basis, like on people I have good terms with, because, like, for me, if I disclose to the wrong person and then I get in a fight with them because they say some stupid shit, like, they turn around and they say, oh, well, that's gross or weird or whatever, then I'll be like, well, that's very disrespectful of you. I don't appreciate that at all. And in fact, I think that that's pretty rude. And then they have a bad experience with me, so they're going to go and be like, oh yeah, I met a tranny one time, and blah, 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 and then talk shit about me, which doesn't help the trans community at all. Whereas if I go to somebody who respects me, who knows me, and I tell them, hey, this is my story, da-da-da-da-da, then they say, oh my god, I would have never guessed that. And then they can go and tell, like, 3 or 4 people, like, hey, I met, a transgender male, and it was this, like, crazy experience you would have never known. And then they spread good things about our community. So for me, it's more meaningful for me to tell them that this is who I am. People who respect me. So that's all about stealth. That's my tangent about stealth. That's really my only trigger words, though. As far as, like, sexual words, or what we call our body parts or whatever, I haven't figured that out yet. I'll be honest. I don't know. Like, it's really up in the air for me. I'm trying to figure it out. but just don't really know yet what's comfortable and what's not. And I feel like that's like to each his own, you know. Whatever he wants to call his stuff is what he can call it, or you know, trans women even, whatever they want to call their stuff, they can call it that. A lot of people opt for like the biologically correct, like dick or penis for males, and women vagina. I mean, it's just typically what it goes down to. But I mean, if somebody was okay with other words, that'd be fine. Very open-minded person when it comes to this. Sorry, that's my alarm to get ready for work. So I'm gonna cut this video off. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment, let me know what you think. Okay, peace.